Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the 8-Bit Adventures podcast, bringing you the latest and greatest geeky news of the week. I am your host, Sean Hayes, and with me is my wonderful co-host, as always, Courtney Bolin.
Hey, everybody!
Once again, I forgot how the intro music works, because it turns out it's tied to my microphone and not the desktop audio, like Courtney's microphone is. So I'll get it one of these days, folks.
Eventually, you know?
Yeah. So we got a couple of things in quickfire news this week.
Mm-hmm.
So why don't we get right into it? Because Courtney and I are both very tired and very sore, and we have bodies that don't work. So
yes.
we're gonna get right to it.
Yes.
Okay. So first up, this past weekend was both PAX Online and D&D Celebration 2020. It was just a quick recap. It covered, it was basically a lot of one-shot or short adventures devoted to Rime of the Frost Maiden, which is the latest product offering. It also delved a little bit into upcoming stuff in Tasha's Cauldron of Everything, which is sort of a new player and DM option book coming out in November. Also had a bunch of panels, including stuff on inclusive dungeon design for making sure that you have accessibility options for disabled players or disabled characters. What it means to be a bard, hosted by the critical bard himself, Omega Jones.
That was an amazing one.
Taking a look at Asian stereotypes in sort of tabletop RPGs in general, but D&D specifically, just because of D&D's history with things like quote-unquote Oriental Adventures and Al-Qadim, hosted by the Asians Represent podcast. And there was a bunch of Invisible Dragons, which was a panel on mental health, and all sorts of stuff like that. So there was also a bunch of like virtual tables open for facilitating gameplay. From what I understand, not perfect, but it was a learning curve for everybody. But all in all, seemed to be a pretty successful product online convention. Everything went fairly well. So, Courtney, would you like to take the next bit of news?
Yeah, so WandaVision, the new Disney Plus series that's coming out, we finally have a trailer for it, which I'm kind of excited about because this looks very interesting in a way that I haven't seen a Marvel thing before, kind of.
Yeah, and we can do a little bit more analysis when we get through the news topics.
Yes.
So next up, so Nintendo, once again, surprise partner direct. This time, kind of the big announcements in there for me, personally.
Yeah.
But they were pretty big announcements. Monster Hunter Rise and Monster Hunter Stories 2 Wings of Ruin are announced for Nintendo Switch. So Monster Hunter Rise is sort of the next iteration of Monster Hunter games, sort of taking a lot of what they're doing with Monster Hunter World for sort of Xbox, PlayStation, and PC, and applying those to sort of a smaller focused game for Switch, but also taking inspiration from Breath of the Wild. We'll get into that in a bit. Monster Hunter Stories 2 Wings of Ruin is, I believe, a sequel to Monster Hunter Stories for the 3DS. It is a game in which, instead of hunting monsters, you are riding monsters, and it's like a turn-based RPG. So,
sounds really fun.
Yes. Both are slated for so Monster Hunter Rise is slated for March 2021. Monster Hunter Stories 2 it was not given a release date yet.
Okay. Cool. So next bit of news, Tatiana Muslany, I think that's how you pronounce that.
I think so.
I
I think so.
Yeah. She is not only going to direct several episodes of the upcoming She-Hulk series, but she is also now starring in the series. Or I think that's other way around. She's starring in it and she's directing several episodes.
Well, they hired her as the director first.
Okay.
Yeah.
And now she's also starring in it.
And now she will also be starring in it.
That's really awesome.
Yes. We got our last Shadowlands trailer for Revendreth released, where we see basically the vampire overlords sort of bleeding the populace dry of anima by sort of hoarding it all for themselves while the rest of the populace starves to death. And we also learn they are the ones that are keeping Garrosh Hellscream and are basically using him as a never-ending source of anima and just pumping it out of him. So this is sort of the Ravenloft setting in Warcraft in the Shadowlands. But ultimately, a lot of folks were disappointed with the storyline within the trailer itself, as it seems to be sort of another Nightborn / Nightfallen type scenario. So we'll see.
You will see, and then I will watch streams about it.
Yeah.
So this one I was actually pretty shocked to see. Netflix has announced that they are canceling the Dark Crystal series, despite them winning an Emmy for Outstanding Children's Program.
Yep. It's the latest and bizarre cancellation decisions by Netflix. Seems to be the thought of too much money. Like it just cost too much, but it won an Emmy, so,
Yeah.
Up next. Excuse me. New game development and publishing studio Dreamhaven is announced, along with their two studios, I think it's Moonshot and Secret Door. Composed primarily of former Blizzard bigwigs, so like Mike Morhaime, Dustin Browder, Jason, I think it's Chase. Like it's basically half the folks were sort of higher ups at Blizzard, and Kate Welch. So yeah, congrats to Kate for that move. And I'm looking forward to seeing what they come up with. They seem to really be focusing on like being an inclusive studio, and they're actually looking for more diverse talent. Still a very small team, and folks like board games, computer games, video games. Who knows?
We will figure that out.
Yeah.
And then the last bit of quickfire news that we have today is Microsoft bought Zenimax and by extension Bethesda for $7.5 billion. I just it's still Bethesda though. Like
yeah. Well, and so one of the things that I didn't put in the notes here is that Bethesda will apparently retain its publishing rights. For now, anyway. So they will still be able to publish cross-platform, which in Microsoft's case is, well, that's great. That just means that we just make all that money on sales for cross-platform. That means that Microsoft will now be earning the revenue from like the 40,000 different versions of Skyrim that exist.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, all of the Skyrim.
Yes.
And all of the Elder Scrolls in general. Like there's
Yeah.
So.
All right. So that is going to wrap up Quickfire News this week. So let's get into some of those topics with our deep dive.
Yeah.
You know what? I actually like the sound of that, so I'm going to change the name of that in the show notes to Deep Dive.
Yeah! Hey, we have a...
There we go.
We have a segment title.
Yes, we do. All right, so I want to start with something that I didn't put in the Quickfire News, but it's due to me going on FMLA. I had a bunch of time on Monday, so I finished up Castlevania on Netflix, and oh boy, that series continues to be pretty good. I think they're doing a fantastic job, making that like an animated series. I have to say, probably one of the best, let's say, movie/TV adaptations of a video game property that I have seen.
Yeah.
Even better than Street Fighter, which for those that don't know, that's sarcasm. Certainly a lot better than Super Mario Brothers movie.
No, we don't talk about that.
It's almost better than the Super Mario Brothers Super Show. And it just barely ekes out Legend of Zelda. Slight sarcasm on that. But yeah, no, it's great. There's two characters, Striga and Marana, that basically Vampire Bo and Yasha for Critical Role fans. Like, it's
I
the
got
resemblance
those
is
major
uncanny.
vibes. I got those major vibes. Yeah.
I will say, season 3 kind of ramps up and goes off the rails. Definitely not safe for kids. It is rated TVMA for a reason, so parents.
The other two seasons,
if you care about that kind of stuff, it's got a lot. There's
ratings
a lot
are
that
again.
Happens.
Ratings are there for a reason.
Especially as you get to like the last 2 episodes in the season, there is a lot. And it's a lot that's all happening at once. So yeah. But otherwise, it's fantastic. I encourage folks to take a look at it if you have any interest in either Castlevania or just in general sort of dark fantasy. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. So now, all right, so let's talk about WandaVision. So WandaVision, it's been confirmed apparently that this is going to tie into Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness.
Okay, that makes so much sense.
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Now, whether it's Wanda causes the Multiverse of Madness, I don't know, since she basically has the powers of the Reality Stone, which is why all this weird stuff happens.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm so confused by the trailer. It just feels like for fans of Supernatural, the episode in which I can't remember if it's the one where it's definitely one of the ones where Loki is pulling the strings / Michael, but
yeah.
But I don't think it's the one where Dean dies over and over again, but it is the one where they like get stuck in different TV.
Yeah, no, the one where Dean dies over and over again is in a town.
Yeah.
Where everything, like, he just Groundhog Days it.
Yes.
Yeah. That's I do remember that one very vividly.
So yeah, I don't know. I was also curious as to how they were going to justify having Vision in it, if it was going to be like set in a different time period or something.
Yeah.
But no, it's post Endgame. So yeah. So that's a thing. Also, folks are really playing up the fact that we see Vision's classic costume in the trailer.
I don't know what they're planning on doing with this, but hearing that it has ties in with the Doctor Strange stuff, does make it a little bit more like now it's still really weird, but it's a little less weird.
Also, you know what? I forgot to add it to the notes. Black Widow pushed back again to May 2021. And by extension, the other Marvel properties, aside from WandaVision, is pushed back as well.
Yeah.
So, Yeah.
I'm sure that they're probably, you know, I mean, filming has got to be really weird right now. A lot of editing maybe can happen.
Well, from what I understand, it's done.
Oh, it's done?
I think it's done. It's just Disney wants it to come out in theaters. Like, they don't want to just release it to Disney Plus.
Oh, they don't. They've realized that they made a mistake with Mulan. You mean?
Well, many mistakes were made with Mulan.
In the release.
That is one mistake. Yes.
In the release. Yes. Sorry.
Yes,
I realized.
I'm sure Disney has the data now that people aren't going to spend $30 to unlock a digital movie.
Nope, unless I'm buying it, and even then, I've been wanting to watch Moulin Rouge for like 2 weeks, and I still won't buy it on Amazon. And I'm not the type of person to like movies that I really, really, really like. I'm not gonna go and try and pirate it. Like that's no. Yeah. If I want
it's the thing where if it was physical media, people would do it, and that would be fine, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's a little pricey, you know, but fine, whatever. It's physical media. You buy it, you own it, and as long as that format is still in use, and as long as you have some way of playing that format, you can still do it.
Yeah.
But for a film in which, you know, chances are you're going to get, like, let's say on average, a person will watch it like 3 times. You're talking about, let's say, 9 hours. No, not 9 hours.
No.
That's weird. Let's say 7.5 hours of content for $30.
Yeah.
Now compare it with, you can get any number of video games
that have more playtime than that.
Less than that. You can get Stardew Valley for $15 and get 400 hours of content from that if you're Courtney. Or possibly more. We won't judge. So yeah.
No, I'm still hovering around 400.
Yeah. So yeah, the theory is that Disney's holding it for a theatrical release, and they want to make sure that they get their money's worth, and that it has a big theatrical release.
I mean, to be fair, I completely do understand that. I really do. But I know that like some places theaters are open, and I'm just like, no, thank you, no, thank you, no, thank you,
that's
no,
the thing.
Thank you.
Is Disney wants it so that they can guarantee that they'll get people in seats.
Yeah.
And I just don't know. And I think especially with Disney Plus being a thing right now, is if they were to release it now, people would just say, I'll wait till it's on Disney Plus and just watch it then, instead of going to a theater and risking it.
Well, it's kind of like they did that with Onward. They took Onward and released it way earlier than they were planning on Disney Plus. And the same thing happened with Hamilton too. They weren't planning on releasing that for a while, and they bumped that date up as well.
Yeah.
To it porting over. So I think a lot of it is, yes, they're getting the steady stream every month from the Disney Plus subscriptions, but they also want to make sure that people are seeing it in theaters.
Well, it's also, remember, it's Marvel wants Marvel might want the big theatrical release.
Yeah.
It'll be Marvel getting the revenue, whereas like if with Disney Plus, I presume Disney gets the revenue directly.
Yeah.
I mean, it all goes to Disney, but it's buckets.
Yes.
Trust me, I work for an organization that has multiple buckets. So
it's yes, there's a trough and there's a whole bunch of buckets.
Yeah.
And this one goes into this bucket.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So a little bit more on D&D Celebration. So there were some secrets. So they do this kind of at every like D&D live event where they cover like an adventure path. They put up a map or something, and they have like little secrets that come up, and people solve the puzzles, and you unlock stuff or reveal stuff coming out. So this was spoilers. So the puzzles revealed mostly familiars. So no clear indication yet if they're going to be in Tasha's or not. But they're interesting little dudes and dudettes. So I will not reveal them in case folks want to go take a look at it. However, there are, so if you just search for D&D Celebration 2020, you can pull up the map. And so it's a little convoluted, though, in that you have to click on a region, and then you have to mouse over that region and see if any place like starts highlighting in red. And then click on that, and then it brings up the puzzle, and then you have to solve the puzzle, right? Which will give you a bunch of letters that you then have to unscramble or scramble into the right word, and then enter that word in. And then if you enter in the correct word, it'll give you your prize.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. I'm just happy that we have our group chat.
And the puzzles are hard. So, that said, if you're interested in that, I would recommend, so, changing my mind. We will discuss on what the prizes were.
Yes.
So cover your ears, earmuffs, spoiler earmuffs.
Spoilers.
So
yeah, we need to make a spoiler sound.
True. Smite. There we go.
There we go. Spoilers.
The spoiler smite. So some of the familiars include like a baby snowy owlbear cub, a gelatinous ice cube, stinky Arctic squirrel.
Arctic stinky squirrel and the Chwinga squidling.
Yes, which is basically, so Chwingas they're little elemental spirits.
Okay.
That first came out in Tomb of Annihilation, so in Chult. This is one that apparently got infected by a mind flayer.
Wait. We have more cute mind flayer stuff?
So little teeny tiny, like they're this big. They're supposed to be like, like a David the gnome sized. As opposed to, like D&D the gnome sized. But it's like got a little squid face and everything.
Yeah, when you told me about these, I was like, wait, I just snowy owl bear cub, like I want to, it just sounds so cute. And then I started thinking about gelatinous ice cube. And I'm wondering if it's like if you try and freeze Jello, or if it's like, yeah, that's the only thing I could think of, is it's like trying to freeze Jello, or like, yeah, when you put Jello shots in the freezer, like they mostly kind of sort of solidify but the alcohol makes them still gelatinous.
So the gelatinous ice cube, it says you have a friendly psychic link with this tiny cube of death. You can summon the gelatinous ice cube using Find Familiar. It has the statistics of an Oblex spawn. And that's kind of what they do for these familiars. So, like, the snowy owlbear cub just has the stats of a cat.
That's fine with me.
It's just, it was a little cosmetic type thing.
Yeah.
There's also 2 magic items.
Yeah.
One is a magic
about the first one.
One's like a magical cup of cocoa that during a short rest you can cause it to magically fill up, and if you drink from it, you restore bonus hit points if you regain hit points. So it's basically Song of Rest, but it does the same thing. The other one is kind of
more just individualized.
Yeah. The other one is a Netherese ghost story book. So it's based on the ancient kingdom of Netheril, which features in the adventure. So for fans of Critical Role, it's kind of like the ancient mage empire that they keep talking about before the Calamity. Very much same thing in Forgotten Realms. So this is supposed to be a book of ghost stories from that era. So like it gives you a bonus to like find out lore on stuff, but it's also filled with scary stories. So the next time you take a long rest, you have to make a wisdom save, or you have nightmares and you can't actually sleep.
It's a little bit of a double-edged sword.
A little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah.
You might get scared. Give scary stories.
Okay, this is the thing though, like I freak myself out, like just in the dark. Like, I was the kid that, like, at my house growing up, like, I'd go upstairs and I'd just, like, run up the stairs because I had to, beat whatever was chasing me up the stairs,
Sure.
I'm excited about the inspired Cocoa mug. It sounds really fun, and I always like cute sounding items. I mean, yes, as a character, I like more practical things as my characters, but
Mhm.
as Courtney, like, I want a big hot cocoa mug.
Well, it's still a pretty good item.
Oh yeah,
it gives you
no,
bonus healing.
I think it's great, and I really do like that it's basically it is that Song of Rest kind of feature.
So yeah. And then 2 spells, Mind Sliver and Mind Spike, which we've seen in Honest Arcana. So,
I thought you said it was Mind Whip. You said in the group chat it was Mind Whip.
It might be. Oh, yes, Mind Whip and Mind Sliver.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. I think Mind Whip was originally Ego Whip, and then they wanted to make it less psionic sounding.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's what it said. I'm not sure if...
So those 2 spells are appearing in Tasha's Cauldron of Everything. So... and then just to shift gears a little bit for Monster Hunter. So you're doing a lot of climbing in that game. They talk about like having a lot of verticality, which they did for I think Monster Hunter 4 on the 3DS. But rather than just having it be the standard Monster Hunter areas with just like different places with vines and stuff to climb up and down. You have places to actually climb on. So a little bit more like Monster Hunter World, but combining it with the freedom of movement from Breath of the Wild. Now, and this ties in with the comic that I did this week. You get an item called a Wirefly. Now, Monster Hunter World introduced Scout Flies, which like help you detect stuff and follow monsters and stuff like that. So this Wirefly is basically, it creates a mid-air grapple point, and then you can lash out with like this beam of light or whip of light or whatever, and you grab onto the Wirefly, and then you can swing around on it, much in the same way that Link can use a hook shot. You can use this for climbing, but they also showed you could use this to perform special attacks on monsters. So it introduces even more variety. Now this week's
comic makes more sense.
Yes.
Because I thought it looked cool, and I'm like, I'm sure it has a video game reference somewhere. I just don't know it.
Yep. It is timely from this past week. So yeah, a lot of it looks like a lot of the move sets are from Monster Hunter World, which is nice because I think they did a great job at streamlining and updating the mechanics for Monster Hunter. Made it a little easier to play so that you didn't have to like contort yourself into weird shapes in order to play that game. But now also adding the capability of being able to like jump, throw yourself around, and then rebound back into the monster as a special attack is pretty cool.
Jump around.
Yeah.
Jump around.
Or just the fact that, like, now imagine in Breath of the Wild, if, you're climbing or whatever, and you have to get over to this other peak, and I guess because you have the glider, like, it kind of fulfills the same purpose, but, like, instead, you leapt off through a line out to a Wirefly in midair, and then swung across like Spider-Man onto another cliff, and then jumped and grabbed on. That's the kind of gameplay that we're kind of expecting to see in this game, based on the footage they showed.
So you become Spider-Man.
A little bit. You can do a little bit. It's not like full on swinging because it's very.
No,
it's still limited,
but
Yeah.
You mean there's physics constraints? What do you mean? What are you
A little
talking
bit.
about?
A little bit. We also saw some of the monsters. There's basically a big crane-like monster with a weird bludgeoning crest.
Like crane, birdie,
Yes.
crane.
Yes.
Okay, with a crest. Okay.
Like a 15-foot tall crane that has a crest on its head that when it flares it up, you can use it as a shield or a hammer, and it hammers you with it. There is like a crocodile frog, and some returning. We saw Toby Kadachi, and then the flagship monster has some sort of frenzy type thing that it infects the monsters with, I think. So we may see another like frenzy rage virus thing come back. But yeah, I'm super stoked. So I was playing Monster Hunter World for a while, just because, the Switch got Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate, which was Monster Hunter Double Cross in Japan, was on the 3DS, I think. And then they ported it over to
free
Switch.
From work.
And it just like trying to go back to that for Monster Hunter World I couldn't do it. Between the user interface and the control scheme, it just I couldn't do it. So this will be nice having and it does rather than distinct areas that have a loading screen in between them, it's one area that you are wandering around chasing the monster around in.
Works.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if there was anything else we wanted to do a little bit of a deep dive on. I don't think so.
It's been no bare naked ladies. I'm not singing the song.
But yeah.
It's been a pretty chill week.
Also, Donkey Kong Country 2 on Super NES Online.
Oh, that's
not really
what
a deep dive.
those initials mean. Yeah, I didn't know those initials when you sent them. I was like, wait, what? Okay, it's something that Laura Bailey would be excited about, but
one of the best Super NES games out there. Certainly one of the best soundtracks out there. Where I may maybe I'll bring back Super Saturdays early. And just play that game. And by just play that game, I mean just hang out and just listen to the music for like an hour. I mean, Bayou Boogie, Sticker Brush Symphony, Hothead Bop are all fantastic tracks. Gusty Glades, or Gusting Glade, or whatever it's called.
Yeah, when you sent that, I was like, "What? I don't know what those letters mean."
And
I knew I'd be talking. And I knew I'd be talking to you later.
all good. Sticker Brush Symphony is regarded as like one of the best sort of I guess you would say like sort of relaxing source material for like trance EDM music.
Interesting.
Like it's very popular for remixing.
Mm-hmm.
But like also stands on its own. So yeah. Which is contrasted with they put it in extremely difficult, very technical sort of barrel levels. So Donkey Kong Country is you have part of the platforming is you have these barrels that launch you places, but often what they will do is they'll either like move or rotate, and you have to like time it right to push the button, or you get like shot into something and instant die. Because it's a game where like you get hit once and you lose your character, so you essentially you get like 2 hits and you're dead. So yeah, so there's that element, or you might. Oh no, that was later, where you got squawks as no. That was so you might get squawks where you get like a little parrot and you fly around those levels, but it requires a little bit of precision flying because you're manipulating through these bramble mazes that like will hurt, and they'll cause a hit on your character and you lose your character. But yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Do we have a release date for that, or
right now?
Or is that when that's coming out? Oh, it's just straight up out. Okay.
Right now.
Sweet.
Right.
Awesome. Yeah. Reasons
So,
to have a Nintendo Online account. There we go.
Yes, and then Nintendo Switch Online account.
Yes, Switch Online account. Yes.
So.
Yeah.
All right. I think that's going to cover our deep dive. So why don't we get into Quest Log? Quest Log is where we talk about what sort of geeky stuff is on our to-do list. Courtney, would you like to go first?
Yeah, unfortunately, my to-do list has not really changed that much. We were supposed to play D&D on Friday, and that didn't happen, so it turned into a game night instead. And then having to do other stuff over the weekend, and then watching some of the D&D Celebration stuff. I got kind of sidetracked with that, so I wasn't able to get any playtime in on Stardew on my new on the new farm with my boyfriend. And I haven't touched my Switch all week, unfortunately. I'm still trying to get back into the swing of things from work, and I've still got a boot on my foot from that, so it's just throwing my whole body out of whack. So I'm still I'm glad that we have the quest log though, because it still makes me think about it.
Yeah.
And so it's that little motivation of, yes, no, this is what I want to do, and I'm feeling a little bit better now. I might order some dinner and try and play some Three Houses tonight.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Is there anything that you would like to add or subtract to your to-do list? Would you like to revise your to-do list based on current expectations?
Yeah, I think it's just, I'm not going to focus on trying to start Truberbrook yet. I kind of want to finish the games that I have. That I already have loaded onto my Switch, Yeah, I think that's kind of the big one, is I just want to, before I put something new in there, I want to just really just make sure that I finish Three Houses, and there's a couple others that I really want to get some more time in before I add anything new to my system. So. Yeah. Which is why I haven't gone to GameStop.
Do we know, is our GameStop going to be one of the ones that are left? Because I saw that they were closing more.
I haven't seen anything, but if I genuinely had to guess, I would say that ours is, because our local GameStop is the only franchised, and I'm going to, is the only GameStop within an, otherwise you have to go to Albany or you have to go to Holyoke. So
I mean, that didn't save Best Buy, but
no,
who knows? But maybe they perform well enough.
When I worked there, that store sure did. Yep.
Okay.
In trades alone,
there we go.
That store did what it needed to.
Yeah.
Sales, not so much all the time.
Yeah, but GameStop makes their money on trades.
But trades, oh yeah. Oh yeah, so many trades. All of the trades. I hated doing trades.
Well, so why don't I tell you what's on my list to do instead of telling you
your list, because you've actually been doing stuff.
Okay, so I have reevaluated what will be going on next week's to-do list, this upcoming week's to-do list. Just because, so number one, I seem to have had no motivation to play Pokemon. Instead, I got sucked into playing Slay the Spire, and did a whole bunch of stuff with that, including I think it was last Thursday or Friday. Stayed up way too late.
We were up pretty late on Friday, but I mean, that wasn't like terrible.
Maybe it was a different day.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
I'm like, because family game night, or family movie night, I didn't get home until like 10:30, I think, something around there.
Yeah.
After the movie and everything. I mean, that's not super late for me, but
yeah. But yeah, no, it's just Slay the Spire, roguelike card battler game, that has like RPG elements. So a little interesting, with that. Just I got sucked into that. No room for Pokemon. Have had barely any time for Animal Crossing.
You're gonna get that sad email that says your island has missed you, and you're gonna get guilted all over again by all of your villagers.
Well, so when I say barely any time, means I'm logging in every day to like basically talk to 3 villagers, pick up the bottle on the beach to get my daily do-it-yourself recipe, checking the shop, and checking my mail.
So you're doing the dailies, and that's it.
So I'm doing the dailies, but that's it. So we'll wait until October.
No shaming yet.
But yeah, so I did color 1 chapter 1 comic. So I know I was going to do 3, but I got 1 done.
Hey, 1 is better than none.
And between this week's comic taking me like 6 hours to do that and finishing up the coloration of that chapter 1 comic taking like another 3 hours to get done. That was a lot. So, so, and I didn't work on Gamora articles at all. Sorry, folks. So this coming week, I have reevaluated what I want to do. So, I will either color 1 chapter 1 comic for 8-Bit Adventures, or create another item icon for sort of the 8-Bit Adventures game project for Glory and Pie Cake.
Oh.
Which is the RPG Maker project. So there's that. So it's an either or. I will finish the Tempest article for Gamora. Now, whether that means that I finally just get sick of it and just post it, maybe. And just say, here's what it is for now.
Yeah.
And then finally, this is a little something for the Kraken's Wake crew, is creating a Khazdal soundset in Sirenscape. So doing this because basically now that we've decided to play offline, going in and adding music that we normally would not be able to play on stream, which is just anything. Yeah. So Sirenscape, if you have a creator account, you are able to upload whatever music and sound effects you want to create your own stuff. You just can't share it if you don't own the rights to that music. So basically kind of like most, like if you're using it for personal or private use, like that's totally fine. Yeah. It's just, like, and especially if we were to stream, I would have to go back in and swap that music out. With stuff that we would be able to play on stream. So, but yeah, so I've been going through making some notes on different songs for different sort of themes and sound sets.
Nice.
So let me just talk about some of the stuff that I have figured out. So for things like battle music, and who knows, maybe, I don't know, maybe if I can figure out how to upload it somewhere, we can do it as like a Patreon thing. Like if it's not going to be in danger of getting pulled down off of something, but yeah, I don't know, who knows. But basically, things like Pirates of the Caribbean music for battle music, a lot of Warcraft.
When we were playing, back when we could play inside, we were getting a lot of Pirates of the Caribbean stuff when we were on the ocean, and sometimes it would be on a repeat. But I'm super excited that you're doing this, Sean, because I actually get to hear the music when we play in person. Yeah. More often than when we're in the studio, and it really does bring an extra element. So I really appreciate the time that you're, willing to put into that. So
I also like this because, so with Sirenscape, when you add music into Sirenscape and you add music to an element, Sirenscape will handle randomizing and replaying that music as part of your sound set. So, number one, this means that I don't have to worry about fumbling through different apps. So I don't have to like jump between Sirenscape for sound effects and then Spotify for music. It also means it's all integrated, and I can set the volume automatically within Sirenscape and just like push a button and it'll take care of everything.
Nice.
I am pretty sure it's what one Matthew Mercer does for Critical Role, because last I heard they were using Sirenscape for that, since he was doing like a bunch of, like, they were mentioning that in a bunch of ads that they were running.
Yeah, and I know that he was doing, and they like got the permissions from.
Well, yeah, he's got he has permission from Blizzard to you and a bunch of other studios and like Obsidian for. So they have Pillars of Eternity music, they have Warcraft music, they have Diablo music. I want to say,
I remember the announcement when they got the Diablo music.
He may have gotten permission from is it Cyberrect, whoever's making Cyberpunk and makes Witcher games, to use Witcher music, I think.
Oh yes, I'm pretty sure they did. Yeah,
whatever that studio is, he's got permission from them. So like, it's kind of the same idea. It's just, this will be for funsies, so we can do that. But the idea being that, like, if you can find music that is available for streaming or that is publicly available, that you are able to use that with Sirenscape as well, and to create your own custom sound sets with that.
Really cool.
Want to make this clear, not sponsored by Sirenscape, but
we're just letting you know about it.
If you're listening, Ben, we're open to the idea. I really like using the tool. And they have a new sound set for Rime of the Frostmaiden coming out in like a week or two.
Nice.
And it was
that's
all
something
the music,
I love that they do.
It was all the music that they were doing during D&D Celebration 2020.
That's something that I really love that they do, because don't you have the one loaded up for Saltmarsh?
Yeah,
well?
So it's kind of a recent thing that they started doing.
I still think it's great. Like, I don't care if it's recent.
They started with Dragon Heist, and then they did Saltmarsh and Descent into Avernus, and now Rime of the Frostmaiden. Is that they're doing official stuff, and they have official stuff for Pathfinder as well. And I think a couple things for Call of Cthulhu. So they work with a couple different systems to do soundscapes for. But this will be an official sound set for that adventure. So it'll have basically, like, when you go to this town, it'll just have a thing where you click on that town and it'll give you a bunch of moods and stuff that are custom tailored for all of those locations and scenarios, we'll say. So yeah,
I think it's really cool.
Yes. So anyway, that's on my to-do list, is make a sound set for Khazdal, which is sort of a mountainous Badlands region in Jamora. So, all right, well, that I think is going to wrap things up for this week, unless you have anything further, Courtney.
No, unfortunately, I don't.
Well, that's okay. That just means we're not dragging things out. So, if you want to see more content from 8-Bit Adventures, be sure to check out 8-bitadventures.com. Over there, you can find podcasts, comics, artwork, streams, and more. If you want to help support that content, there are 3 ways that you can do so. First way is right here on Twitch. You can become a subscriber to this channel. Doing so will help unlock more emotes for folks to use. Or at the very least, if you would like to follow, just hit that little heart icon and everything. Folks that have Amazon Prime, remember that you get one free, I think they're still calling it Twitch Prime, subscriptions a month. Also remember that it has to be renewed every month manually.
And it does give you a countdown when that is.
Yes,
so that you can set an alarm on your phone or something, or like if you're not going to use it for a couple days after, like that's fine. Like it will tell you when you need to on the exact date, and it'll give you a countdown. If it's like, oh, your subscription ends in 3 days, like it will give you that warning.
Yep. So second way, the oldest way, is you can support 8-Bit Adventures on Patreon at patreon.com/8bitadventures. Patrons get access to early comics, some exclusive comics that someday I will get back to doing. So rest assured that you will get your content, as well as a discount on the third method of supporting the channel and the content, which is buying merch.
Yeah.
So you can
get yourself
merch
a Monty shirt
at shop.8bitadventures.com. And yeah, I believe patrons get 10% off. But yeah, so we have shirts, hats, stickers. Always taking a look at the inventory. So at some point, let's say before the end of the year, I've decided I'm going to create 2 versions of t-shirts. So one, which is this, I'm wearing one of these right now, Tales of Jamora, is a tri-blend. I'm also going to have sort of ring spun cotton, which is, it's still a nice material, but it's a lot cheaper. So just a lower cost alternative for folks.
With the same words, designs available on both?
It'll be the same designs, so you'll have your choice of material. And they'll both still be by American Apparel, which is sort of an ethical clothing company.
Awesome.
Or more ethical clothing company than most. So
yeah.
And lastly, our theme is One Up by Professor Shy Guy. You can check out his work over at professorshyguy.bandcamp.com. And with that, we are finished. So as always, have fun, everyone. Happy gaming, and enjoy your pie cake.
Hey, everybody.